I think we missed each other. I hope it wasn't because I blew up the Zoom or something. I've been having Zoom problems, so um, not a big deal. I'm going to send you a movie instead, and we can negotiate via email. It's not a biggie. So when you're looking at Formula One and safety, I'm a bit of a motorhead, and I remember there's been like safety initiatives that have been tied to race car driver names, like Jackie Stewart in the 70s, or there have been famous race car drivers who've died, like Ayrton Senna, and then they want to improve that. There's also been famous drivers who've been hurt, like Michael Schumacher got hurt. He broke his leg at Silverstone. And so there's all sorts of different things about talking about track safety, car safety, maybe procedural things like that. A lot of that is out on the open web, and a lot of that is on YouTube. And if we're looking for um, credible sources, there's a lot of good stuff out on the open web, on the open web as well. So what I'm going to try and show you here is some of the things that you can find in the library, and especially for those scholarly articles that you're required to find. And I did have a bit of a trick finding them, so I wanted to give you some detailed advice. First of all, for databases, just as an aside, if you wanted to find more thoughtful, like long form journalism or things like that, you can go to, we have a database of the entire New York Times, for example. Where did you go? New York Times. So there's two. There's New York Times, but there's New York Times Historic. So if you know the name of a driver who died, you can put in their name and the keyword safety, and you'll get those conversations. So let's look at, oh, I've already put it in there. So we have Ayrton Senna, who famously died at Imola in '94. And then immediately afterwards, they put in a chicane to address track safety. But it was a bit of a freak accident, but it was a very, 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 very infamous accident. It just showed up on media worldwide. So I looked for Ayrton Senna in quotes because I want those two terms to stick together. That works in Google and all the other databases. And then also I wanted to include death and safety. These are words that it's going to look for in the full text of the newspaper article. Critically, this one though, safety, because we want to find out, like, what did people do? What did they speculate was a cause? What can happen in the future? So this might be a good historic one. If you knew the names of people, I think there was somebody named Carlos Reutemann who died. Um, Here's like debates, risks, and driving 200 miles an hour. You can't expect to come away unscathed. So safety, I think, is a big one. An interesting thing is sometimes they spell out the one. Sometimes they just do the number one. I have ways around that as well. So if you know the names of people, you can put it in here. So you could do. Um, oh, now I just lost it. The Scottish guy. Well, be that as it may. This is a great way to go because this goes way back. So let's try. Let's try Formula One and safety. Let's see how far back it goes. Jackie Stewart, that's who I wanted to find. And I think I did an Irish accent. That's the only one I know. I've tried an Australian accent. It's hopeless. Hey, look at that. So this is better, putting in the Formula One. These are not scholarly, but this is like the international discourse and debate and argument and speculation. This is what's going on. And you can see it started in the late 60s. Hooray! This actually might work pretty good. And it looks like the peak of the information was 2000 to 2009. Nice. This might be pretty good. Okay, New York Times Historic is the name of that database. Whoops. Let's go to the library homepage. I'm going to go back and forth between that one. I just saved stuff so I could remember what the heck I was doing. The library catalog is just kind of like it's a convenience store, as it were. It has a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it's not comprehensive. So it's a good brainstorming tool, but let's look for paths. Where is this showing up in the scholarly literature? So I'll go to Advanced Catalog Search. And I had Dickens of a time finding Formula One, and that might be because they spelled it out. So let me show you what I did. In the advanced search of the library catalog, actually, now you know how I got there. I don't have to retype this in. We can put terms that we think are related. So like IndyCar, Formula 3, Formula 2000. There's been racing series or types for years, formulas as it were. I've even heard NASCAR called a formula, but it's a spec-based racing series where they have criteria for what's allowed to race and not. So I think Formula One is part of the conversation, but you can put in some of those other ones as well. Maybe even Australian touring car and Bathurst. Do you pronounce it Bathurst? Or I'm showing my lack of accent here. Formula One, and if I don't know what any of these are called, I can put an or in, and it'll search for any of them. So I'm going to do Formula One, spelling out. And then I want safety or protection, but I think safety is like the big one, isn't it? So I'm going to get rid of that. Safety, and then since there's a lot of stuff that was just not quite on the topic, I want this to show up in the subject of the thing that we're looking for. So it has to be one of the primary things according to the author. You could also search in the title, but I think subject would be good. And I did subject. And here's something that happened that made this search tricky. Is I got a lot of stuff related to bicycling and horse racing. So what do we do about that? This is something I don't use very often, but you can also do a not statement, or I don't want horse or cycling or bicycling, or so if you get too much of something that you just don't want, because horses go on racetracks and bicycles do. I had just a bad search and I had to close this down. Hey, look at that. Let me zoom back down again. So off-highway vehicle. So you're going to have to wend your way through this. So there's something about tire barriers. There's simulations. There's all sorts of things that you can go into. How do we figure out what discipline these are in and how to go farther? First of all, you have to do scholarly journals. You can go right into this checkbox right here and say, I only want peer-reviewed journals. And so that'll get rid of the 2,000 newspaper articles. And so here's what is it about the driver training? Maybe there's something in Formula One called the super license that was added. Le Mans famously, a year or two ago, I think it was the pandemic year, had a privateer that just T-boned one of the factory teams and took him off the track. And so licensing might be part of the safety. There's all sorts of different aspects that you could look at. Driver behavior. Is Max Verstappen naughty? Yes, he is. I have to say I have a bias. But what you can do is you can also go in and you can see what discipline is this showing up in. So Scopus is just kind of a general database. But let's see. So science and engineering, social sciences, medicine, material science, so making cars stronger. There's medicine. There's the business aspect of it. Is it too expensive? You can also go in through these and break down to these categories as well. And these are just the categories of the articles that have been written there. So there's engineering safety measures. And you can go into each one of these individually and do the searches and see what's going on. So for example, let's do, They even have automobile. I want to do science and technology. No, I want to do engineering. So here's all of our stuff, but we're only looking in engineering databases. So there's a journal called Applied Sciences. There's sports medicine, mechanical engineering, safety science. So as you want to narrow down, this would be the way to go. How do you get these articles? Oh, dragon boat racing? That is so cool. Let's see. Reflections, road safety, ski racing. I want to get rid of some of these. Oh, here we go. Does changing the configuration of a motor racing circuit make it safer? Okay, say I want access to this. From the library catalog, I'm going to move my head again. From the library catalog, it indexes some things, like I said before, and to get into the actual database where it lives, whoa, look at all those keywords. You can see the name of the database that it's in, Scopus and Web of Science, PubMed Central, or you can just click on this link to online resource and it'll send you to that database sometimes. Yeah. So here's the same list. So I'm just going to click on that one. And maybe it's going to put me in the article. Here's the rub. So if you don't get into the article and you just send me the citation, I can help you track it down. And if it ever asks you to pay for the article, just let me know. Here's free full text. You have to click around to get the full text. If you run into trouble, don't spend more than like 5 minutes on this. And I can help you get the full article. This one is not letting me have... Oh, there's another click. Third time's the charm. Yes. What did they change? They changed the direction of Misano, I think, to make it more safe in Italy. I don't know if Formula One did that. I think MotoGP did. So here's an article on that. How do you cite those? If you go back to the library catalog, there's a little citation generator right here. So you can get your MLA or APA. Okay, I hope this helps. Let me know how it works out. I'll look for you as they're watching. Where are they racing this weekend? It's not. Oh, never mind. It's MotoGP that's racing in Argentina. At any rate, I'll wave to you from the television virtual stands.